When God starts separating you for a greater purpose, it never feels holy. It feels heavy, lonely, and confusing because divine separation rarely announces itself with clarity. It exposes itself through disruption. The first shocking sign is that everything familiar begins to fracture. People who once celebrated you suddenly pull away. Conversations that once flowed start to feel forced, and doors you thought would open slam shut. Don't panic. It's not rejection, it's redirection. God is cutting away what can't go with you, pruning you like Jesus described in John 15:2, because not every branch that looks alive is meant to bear fruit in your next season. You start sensing that God is pushing you into solitude, not to punish you, but to prepare you. Hidden isolation becomes holy incubation. You stop fitting in with circles you used to belong to because your spirit has outgrown the environment. That discomfort isn't random. It's God detoxing your life from counterfeit connections so He can align you with divine assignments. The second sign is a restless stirring inside of you, a spiritual unease that whispers, "There's more." You can't stay where you are, but you also can't see where you're going. That tension is sacred. It's how God pulls you out of complacency. Philippians 2:13 says it's God who works in you to will and to act according to His purpose. So when you start losing desire for the things that once satisfied you, that's heaven rewriting your appetite. He's removing your taste for temporary pleasures to awaken your hunger for eternal impact. The third hidden sign is intensified warfare. The moment you begin stepping into separation, hell starts taking notice. You'll face sudden resistance, mental attacks, and unexpected betrayal. You'll wonder why everything is collapsing, but that's the evidence that something greater is being constructed. The enemy always attacks what carries destiny. When God called Moses, Pharaoh increased the oppression. When Jesus stepped into His calling, Satan showed up in the wilderness. Pressure is a prophetic indicator that you're close to purpose. But remember, Isaiah 54:17 says, "No weapon formed against you will prosper. It might form, but it won't finish." The fourth sign is a dramatic shift in what your soul craves. Suddenly, the conversations that used to excite you now drain you. You start valuing peace over popularity, solitude over social validation, obedience over applause. You find yourself longing for prayer, fasting, and silence. Not because you're perfect, but because you're being purified. God begins pulling you away from distractions because He knows elevation requires separation. You're learning that not every good thing is a God thing, and not every opportunity is your assignment. The more He separates you, the more clearly you start seeing the difference between calling and comfort. Then comes the fifth most painful sign, divine disappointment. The job you prayed for falls apart. The relationship you thought was the one ends without closure, and your plans collapse under the weight of what you can't understand. But hidden in the wreckage is God's mercy. Romans 8:28 reminds you that all things work together for good, not some, all. God will allow doors to close that your flesh wanted open because He knows what your spirit truly needs. His no is protection disguised as pain. Separation always precedes revelation. Every time God prepares to reveal His purpose in your life, He first removes everything that could compete for your focus. Look at Joseph, betrayed and forgotten before promoted. Look at David, hunted before crowned. Look at Jesus, isolated before glorified. The pattern never changes: separation, then elevation. So if you're in that strange, silent season where nothing feels secure and everyone seems distant, stop assuming you're being punished. You're being purified. You're being repositioned for something sacred. What looks like loss is the seed of legacy. What feels like silence is divine strategy.